My name's Matthew Croucher. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about my army that I took to Sustained Fire 2023. What I needed to bring to the Sustained Fire event was a 1500 point army. I did have some Imperial Guard, but I didn't have enough painted up to bring a full 1500 point army, but I did have the old trusty Ultramarines, including a squad of the monopose Marines that are from the original box set that my brother and I went halves in when we were about sort of 12, 13. Another couple of Marines that I made up out of the plastic multi-part set. So they still have some of the monopose guys here repping for Squad 5, but I distinctly remember going and buying the two metal sergeants and the special weapons guy probably when I was about 14 or 15 when I first started work, and all of a sudden you're going, oh, hang on a second, this is like, that's like a week's pay right there in those two models. Over time, I accumulated the dreads and the tank, but mostly as sort of friends sort of phased out of Warhammer, I'd end up with some of these models. These guys I got fairly late in the piece and they just stayed sort of wrapped up in a box until I pulled them out very shortly before Sustained Fire 23 and went, I actually just need to have something painted now. So these guys got fielded just in like undercoated in blue, and they've got a green base and this guy has some red on it, so that counts, right? Some things I did have to do was repair the Predator. Somehow over the last sort of 20 years, this had ended up in multiple pieces. So that got a bit of a touch up and glued together, and a little bit of a new paint job and some varnish, and she looked great. I ended up with another Dreadnought from a friend who ended up working for Games Workshop in Australia. Part of doing up that Imperial Guard army was trying to make them like they were an isolated death world. They were separated from the Imperium. For the Space Marines to accompany them, I started off making a group like this, tried to make them look very cyberpunk, hence the little Tesla coils and the lightning here. But yeah, all this together, minus a pretty much any war gear or vehicle cards, got me to 1500 points and gave me quite a lot of Marines to shock Paul, who was playing Imperial Guard at the time, because when he had a whole bunch of tanks, I pretty much almost had as many guys as he did. So it made for a very interesting game, especially when all of a sudden combat squads with flamers started charging across the battlefield, supported by dreadnoughts, who can also use the multi-melter as a heavy flamer.